Canada, known for its spectacular natural beauty, its maple syrup, its enduring winters, its lakes, its vast wilderness, was long before any foreign explorer ever set foot known and inhabited by indigenous peoples, tribes with deep roots in the land, who adapted to harsh climates, developed languages, cultures, spiritual traditions, forms of governance, and trade networks, and for millennia lived across what we now call Canada, this land being second in size among nations, holding within it immense freshwater reserves. And when the first Europeans arrived, the story shifted. The Vikings, around 1000 AD, established a short-lived settlement in Newfoundland, though its fate is uncertain, whether abandoned, lost to disease, conflict, or assimilation. But that early appearance was a hint of what would come. Then in 1497, the Italian Christopher of Genoa, explorer Giovanni Caboto, under the English flag, traveled the coastline of North America, claiming lands, and soon thereafter, explorers from Portugal and Spain also sought claims, though much of the interior remained unknown. Later in 1534, the French explorer Jacques Cartier sailed up a great river, naming it after St. Lawrence, and labeling the surrounding lands Canada, derived from an indigenous word for settlement, and despite early failures, settlements like Quebec and Port Royal eventually took hold. The lands thus became the domain of New France, and to the west, the fur trade, especially beaver pelts, became immensely lucrative, drawing French and English traders into ever more remote lands. But this wealth brought conflict, as the French and English clashed over territory, alliances with indigenous tribes becoming deeply influential. The Iroquois Confederacy, armed with European firearms, aligned with the Dutch and later the English in aggressive campaigns against rival tribes and French interests. Tribes allied with the French to resist Iroquois expansion. Peace after decades of conflict left much bloodshed, but relatively little territorial change. As New France remained composed of several colonies, Canada, Louisiana, Acadia, and smaller settlements, until the Treaty of Utrecht in 1713 ceded Acadia and various territories to the British, further shifting balance. Meanwhile, British colonies to the south swelled in population and power, outnumbering French communities by a wide margin, and when war erupted in North America, known as the French and Indian War or the 7 Years' War, the British, with greater numbers and resources, laid siege to Quebec and Montreal, and though French forces contested fiercely, eventually France ceded Canada to Britain while handing Louisiana to Spain, and with that transfer many in the new British North America were uncertain as the American colonies to the south rebelled and won independence, yet attempts to annex Canadian territory by American forces failed, leading many loyalists fleeing the U.S. to resettle in Canada, strengthening English influence. Then during the War of 1812, both America and British Canada attempted incursions which largely ended in stalemate and reaffirmed boundaries. Over time, the call for greater self-governance grew inside British Canada. The rebellions of 1837-38 were crushed, but compelled Britain to consider reforms. Thus, the Act of Union of 1840 merged Upper and Lower Canada and set the stage for responsible government. By 1867, the British North America Act created the Dominion of Canada, a self-governing entity within the British Empire. Ottawa was made capital. Rupert's Land was acquired. Tensions among Métis, French, English, and Indigenous groups rose. Louis Riel led rebellions to protect Métis land rights railroads. Especially the Transcontinental Railway united the vast territory and facilitated settlement. In the late 19th century, the Klondike Gold Rush attracted fortune seekers to Yukon. Waves of immigration fueled growth. And in the 20th century, Canada cast aside its colonial status further. In World War I, Canada sent hundreds of thousands of troops overseas, suffered grave losses, but emerged with a heightened sense of national identity. Later, the Statute of Westminster in 1931 affirmed Canada's legislative equality with Britain. Then World War II further solidified Canada's role on the world stage. After the war, Newfoundland joined as a province in 1949. Then in 1982, Canada patriated its constitution from Britain, implemented its own, affirming sovereignty while retaining the monarchy in ceremonial form. Today, Canada is home to over 36 million people, a bilingual nation where more than 1 in 5 speak French as their first language. Its province of Quebec wrestles with identity and even sovereignty referenda. Yet Canada endures as a federation built on compromises, reconciliation, ongoing tensions between cultures and communities. A mosaic of Indigenous French-English immigrant identities, and though challenges persist, Canada remains a powerful economy, a country of immense landscapes. Resilient people, ongoing debates about justice, equity, reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, and its national story continues to unfold.